podcast piece of guys on the Capo, Yosono, Chief Gihareh, K-Row. Alright. So, I should actually what you call it. Alright, but in episode two, it's not like it was a filler episode, but there's not a lot of stuff happening. It's just not a lot happening. So, with this one, it's just some stuff to like, I guess, kind of like talk about. Alright. Let me just get this out the way. Oh, I just heard this joke. It was like, what letter holds water? I instantly said the letter U. Right? I just instantly said the letter U. But a better answer and the best answer is C. The sea is a body of water. So, cool. So, episode two. That'll be the last episode that to talk about for now. I'm definitely going to come back later, either if it's later today or tomorrow. Yeah, today and tomorrow, I'll be looking at the other episode. I'll look at some more episodes. Okay, I think I have everything. And so I'm not going to say episode two was like a filler episode, but it was, it's not a lot that did happen, but some more stuff just kind of like, it just change the focus of stuff. So there's a couple things that are like hinted at, kind of seen in the first episode, and they're of more importance now. So the power plant comes up to it like an area of focus or very much concern, and on the second episode. So I'm trying to see if I even have anything to reference of it. So at the end of the second episode, you see there's a body found and it's not Mikhail. He's like, this isn't Mikhail. Couple things here. Because it's just interesting. Mikhail is, he talked about being a magician, you know what I'm saying, in the first episode. And then, like, there's this part, he has this little thing, it's like, the great Mikhail Houdini, you know what I'm saying? Like, and so, when they discovered that body, okay, I'll put this up here. This, right, around the eyes, so, like, they do, like, a little autopsy or whatever, and they do this little autopsy, and they're like, well, eyes just sizzled, right? Now, what you can kind of, whatchamacallit, tell is that the end of episode one has this part mentioned, but in this next episode, they close that, and you can tell what's about to happen. So you can tell basically kind of sort of like what's happening here. Also, when they do like the little autopsy in it, and then like I told you, the dude, one thing he noticed was like he looked at the shoes and he was like, and then he started, which one? He's like, that's not Mikhail. So the lady, when the police officer lady, she's like, there's this Walkman, the shoes. He's like, the body, the boy was dressed as if he came out the 80s. Now, mind you, this thing has this whole, like, it originally started with time. They started talking about with time. You know, you think of it being linear, past, present, future, just an illusion. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow, there's this circle of whatever, right? So that was one of the things, like time. So there's this one guy walking around in like this black jacket or whatever. He pops up again, but we don't like for sure don't know his name. For sure don't know his name. But the reason he pops back up again in this episode, he ends up going to like remember the lady who has her hotel business is not doing too well right now. He pops up to the hotel and he's like, I need a room. Next time they show his, this nigga done moved all the way to fucking. He got stuff all on the walls, this and that, third, boom, boom, boom. So, the police officer lady like, yo, we got two missing people and we got an unidentified body. She was like, we're not talking to nobody, the public about this unidentified body. We got two missing, you know what I'm saying? Boom. Other thing, now, the nuclear power plant. At the nuclear power plant, it was just like kind of like hinted at, like you saw a scene of it, like it was just like a little snapshot or whatever. But now it goes into like the inside, and so I would assume like the guy who like runs the power plant or something. He's talking to Obendorf. Obendorf is where is this at? So if you look at his last name, Eric Obendorf. There was like a scene in the very first part, like I didn't like really talk about it too much, but there were like there's a couple things here. Like the wife is like, where's my son? And she spit on the police officer, right? I did kind of mention that part, like that whole scene kind of whatever. The dad a little too chill. Something about the dad. But when they cut to the like, okay, the police officer, I'm doing a bad job at telling this shit. The police officer, he, like, remember, Mikhail's missing. So he's like, yo, this is not Mikhail. He goes back into the caves, right? And he, like, climbed through the cave. And when he climbs through the cave, there's a door. But the door, he can't get into the door. And so he's like, yo, this door goes back to, like, the nuclear power plant. So the dad, the police officer, he wants a warrant to go through, like, the nuclear power plant. So when he's talking about all this stuff, like, but this when it shifts the focus to the power plant, it come back. So like it kind of like shows this scene, and then like of like over top of the power plant, like a drone shot type shit, and then we're inside the what you watch it, and so for right now, I don't know his name, but you know some fishy shit going on because I'm gonna just call him the owner of the power plant. He's talking to Obendorf. He's talking to his dad, right? And he's like, yeah, you need to do something about what you call it tonight. They're gonna start searching this and that and the third, so I need you to do it tonight. The dad says something like, he gives some type of like pushback, but I forget how, whatever. And he's like, is this blackmail? Mind you, I'm also watching it in an English subbed version. You know what I'm saying? So like, I'm pretty sure this shit is in German. And so in German, I'm pretty sure that some of this shit would hit, you know, like a little bit different, like, you know what I'm saying? But there's this. Right. Oh, so the dad, the police officer dad, yeah, police officer dad, he is, you know, he's like kind of sort of picking up on shit. So he's like, yo, did y'all interview his dad and this and that, boom, boom, boom? Like, I think the first time he kind of like ducked it off or whatever, because I think the other police officer, there's like this concept of like, okay, something happened a couple years ago, and there's like, oh shit, some shit happening now. So then, yeah, it might have been like 33 years ago or something like that. And I'm gonna come back to this. Like, I'm gonna come back to that point. So the dad goes to Obendorf's place, right? It's raining. Like their whole thing with rain and when they decided to make it rain and shit, that it sticks out to me for some reason. So he goes to like Obendorf's place. Oh, because he's looking at a couple shit. So there was this thing about like in the beginning there was like in episode 1 they had this whole shit with like tire tracks, and like one of the things that when they found his body, there was like, yo, he had like this red dirt on him, but the red dirt ain't where we found him at. You get what I'm trying to say? So like, they found him right here, but the dirt that was on his body, like that shit don't come from over here. That was one. And he was dressed in shit from the 80s. That was another thing. So again, this whole thing had this thing about time and time being an illusion and the references that everyone. So the dad goes back to Ovendorf place and like he break into his whatchamacallit and he like searching for some shit. He opened his motherfucking whatchamacallit and then Obendorf kind of whatchamacallit. He kind of hears some shit and he grabs his, he goes, you know what I'm saying? And he's like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Boom, boom, boom. But by this point, the police officer, he done found like a bag. Remember, when they went to the forest, they was like, yo, Eric got some shit, and he be selling some. We could either use this shit or products, sell this shit, whatever. So the dad, like, opened up, he's like, what the fuck is this? He's like, is this yours? And he's like, me and my son Eric, you know, we was working on this, and Eric was selling it, and this and that, third, boom, boom. And then he grabs the coins. He's like, what the fuck is this jar of coins? And he was like, you know, well, we got a junkyard shop, so like, you know, people leave junk in their like shit in their cars, and Eric was saving up to borrow a motorcycle or something like that. So this is kind of much of he's kind of cool, but you know what I'm saying? Wait, but then he's like, where's my boy? So the dad, his dad is on some weird shit, and he know what the fuck. He knows some other shit going on. He's not that pressed about finding his son. I think he knows something about his son where this and third, what's going on with this shit, or whatever, and what's going on with the nuclear power plant. I'm not sure. You know what I'm saying? So but the dad knows something. That's another thing. Then there's this other guy. He also works for the police. I'm not sure what his character is and what the hell they got going on. And it's like the mom. I don't know. There's some character named Mads. He has not existed right now, whatever. But like the female, they're like older. So I'm just gonna call them like they're this grandmother type shit. Like she's like, yo, where were you last night? And he was like, I was in the garden and this and that third. She's like, but the car was gone. I went to the gas station to get some rope and this and that third. Like, so he's like trying to exit. He's like leaving or whatever. But before she's like questioning or whatever, he had some whatever on his sweater. And he threw that shit in the motherfucking washer before she started talking to him. So again, like later in the episode, he gets up while she's assumingly asleep, and then but this time when he gets up, she opened her eyes like. So I'm not sure what's about to happen. They didn't come back to her on that. Now, other thing that's just happened. Let me see. So something's going on at the nuclear power plant. Obendorf's dad definitely knows. Then again, now, this scene, it starts here in episode 1. It comes back to in episode 2. They close that shit. And they're also playing this thing. So remember, so he's in this room and he's on and like there something is fucking playing on the TV, but he's like this, right? He's doing this. And like he don't want to hear the shit or whatever. But they come back and they tell you like, so I didn't really pay attention to what the fuck was playing on the TV the first time. But this time what's playing on the TV is, I would almost assume, I'm not sure, but you know how like if there's something like on the TV and you might, I feel like I could go find this actual video type shit. That's the vibe it gives. I'm not sure. But the guy on TV, again, when the whole, in episode 1, when the whole shit started, it's talking about time, being an illusion, past, present, center, boom, boom. The guy that's on TV is now talking about time too. And like, yeah, like passing the event horizon and something about gravity, because you know, nobody really knows what the fuck gravity is. Like nobody really knows how to really explain what the fuck gravity is. But he was like, maybe, you know, with the black hole and the however much gravity is over there at this source of a black hole, it can potentially like bend space and time, go beyond this event horizon. And if you like, so what the fuck would happen if you go beyond that event horizon or whatever, right? And our science is willing to find out. But then it cuts off there, right? Then once it does that, they close this shit, and now you can kind of like put shit like together. Whatever the fuck is going on right here, and whatever they're trying to do with this event horizon and time travel and shit, they close this shit, and then now you know like this is what the fuck is happening here. Also, the lady said with the autopsy, that something is going on with the ears. So our main character, well, he's supposed to be, he don't really pop up in this shit, but Jonas in this shit is like he wake up, he have a dream, and in his so mind you, the first time he wakes up having a dream, it was this, right? It was right after this scene. First time he wakes up from having a dream, it was right after this shit. So the next time he wakes up, in this one, he all of a sudden like his ears bleed. I'm like, fuck this shit, not blood, whatever. But then he wakes up again, and so with his dad, right? We don't know what the fuck was going on with his dad, but his dad was in a room, and it seemed like he might be doing some art, or but I don't want to call him an artist. You know how some people just be doing some shit and it just be weird as fuck, and it's just like, yeah, it be that all over the walls and shit. That's what his dad was doing, but they don't really. And so like, there's this one point where he goes to the room where his dad, you know what I'm saying, and so he just laying there, and then he looks over, and then there's like this little jank. So he goes to it, pushes it up, goes to the side. Then he reaches in there. It's a map. He pulls out the map and he's like, I can't read German, so I don't know what the fuck is going on, but it's the map, right? It's a map. It's a map. So it's a map, right? And he looking at this shit like, what the fuck is this? And there's this one scene like he's sitting on the jet with his mom, and he was like, he asking her some just some basic ass questions or whatever. Like, he's like, do you miss him? And now she say some shit. You know, like if you ask, your mom, wife, whatever, you know what I'm saying. He has her, mind you, because mind you, she's now also having an affair with the police officer. So he asked, do you miss him? And she was like, I miss the idea of him. Like, what type of shit? And then, but then, because she goes down this whole spiel, like, I'm not sure, but then she starts out like, I'm not sure who he really was, and like, I'm not sure if we ever really get to know, like, who a person really is and shit like that, right? But then he asked her, did you love him? Now, like, these are all some basic ass, simple ass questions. But he's just a son trying to just go cope with all this shit. But then when lights start flicking everywhere, like lights in their house, lights in the police officer house, lights at the school, lights start just flickering everywhere. Um, so the thing about him asking that though was in the episode 1 when she was I got that for sure. I got that. Where is that? No, right here. Episode 1 when she was getting it in episode 1, she sure did get up and say that she told him that she loved him. Oh, just as an aside, she also whatchamacallit. So Mikhail's missing and whatnot. Um, she pops up at night. So the police officer, he's like running around searching. Mind you, he done went to Open Door place. He done went through there, and like he went to the power plant, the nuclear plant, trying to say, "Yo, let me in. Let me at least go to this side where the caves is at. I'm trying to look for my son. He might have went through the doors over there." His police skills ain't really up to, but it's like you don't get. I guess you can give him a pass because his son's missing, but his police skills ain't like top tier. The questioning and all this shit. So then, this is just an aside, cause he's just running around in the rain. This that third. He goes back to the police station, right? He goes back to the police station, and when he gets inside the police station, she's sitting there, and he pull her like, "Yo, what you doing here?" He pull her into like the little evidence, like, "What you doing here?" She was like, "I just want to check on you. I just want to see you and shit like this and this and that third, boom, boom." And then she can't get enough. I don't know, bruh. She kissing him and this and the third. He's like, I can't do this right now. You know what I'm saying? His son missing. I just appreciate the fact that she was ready to bust it down right then and there, boy. She was ready to bust it down right then and there and back in the shit, bro. She ain't care. She pulled up. She like, I just want to check on you, this and that third, boom, boom. He's like, I can't do this right now. He put her into the evidence room. He's like, I'll call you. I appreciated her effort at that moment. I appreciate her effort at that moment. But then, what else? So this is why I say, like, it feels kind of sort of like a filler episode. Now, there is one more guy, don't know his name. Don't know his name. But he popped up in the first episode. He walking around with a black jacket, and he just weird as fuck. I don't know the fuck he got going his hand. Um, I'm coming back to that. Come back to that. I just got to focus on recapping this show real quick. But then he in episode 2, where here's like a couple things. Like I told you, he pops back up. Now he goes to get a hotel room. Next time they show him in the hotel room, this nigga got all this shit everywhere, walls, this and that, third, boom, boom. He comes out the shower, he looks at the motherfucking wall, and if you there's a movie, y'all have not seen this movie. It's called The Sale, I think it's called, with Jennifer Lopez. Like if you ever see that fucking movie, this what that shit remind me of, because he got like the dude in that movie got some shit on his back, and he be like hanging himself like from the shit in his back, so he got I don't know how the fuck that he said this, I don't know how you do this, but this dude got like whelps and shit on his back, and like a certain like it's not like it's just weird, and so but he looking at the wall, and he got all this shit up there, this evidence, but then it come down to who's missing? Mikhail. This nigga knows some other shit too, because he is like, he pulls up this newspaper article. Mind you, Mikhail just went missing, but he pulls up this newspaper article, mind you, the shit in German, but it says, Wo ist Mikhail? So it says W-O as one word, I-S-T, and then it says M-I-K-K-E-L. And so like me knowing just a little bit of German, it felt like this shit says Wo ist Mikhail? Like, where's Mikhail? He crosses out the Vo and puts Van, like, but that's W-A-N-N. Like, Van is Mikhail. Van ist Mikhail. Like, he says, like, he puts like that. Things to, like, kind of note was the fact that in the episode 1, Mikhail does the magic trick, but he says, he was like, how'd you do that? And he was like, the question isn't how, it's when. Mikhail does this. Mind you, Mikhail's the little boy, and he like magic and shit. This whole thing started off talking about time. That keeps being this episode, like, that keeps being this time fucking reference. Then this is how the episode ends. So the show goes to end, and mind you, it keep popping out the shit with the caves. Popping out the shit with the caves. Just come stumbling out the cave and shit. Now, when they found the other body, it had some Nikes, it had this and that, third, boom, boom, and then he's like, yeah, this not Mikhail. So this next one pops up, he coming out the cave, and I'm like, oh shit, that's Mikhail. So here's Mikhail coming out the cave. And because this was one of those things I was thinking about, like, yo, even if then the third, you would have thought that Mikhail, like, you would still, like, just run home or some shit, like, you know what I'm saying, whatever. So Mikhail is, he comes out the cave, I'm like, oh, this nigga's, he alive, right? He alive. So what does Mikhail do? He's looking back at the cave and he's like, what? And he started running. He ran through the woods. He goes back home, right? He goes back home. But so he's trying to get into the house. Then the person opened the door like, yo, what do you want? And so he look at him. Apparently whoever this guy named, his name is Ulrich. And Ulrich is like, bro, like, you don't live here. Like, fuck is you doing? And so like this girl, she comes up to this shit. And cause mind you, when Mikhail comes back at the house, like you see the old timey car, you see like this little motorbike, you see some shit. And then so the girl's like, the girl keep looking at him, like at Mikhail. She's like, who is he? And he was like, I don't know. He just some kid. He's like lost or something. I don't know. The boy Ulrich don't care. She slaps Ulrich on the back of the head. Now, mind you, Mikhail, they always slap Mikhail on the back of the head, right? So, but she just keeps looking at. They get on a little motorbike and they go or whatever. Mikhail looks down at the newspaper, and the newspaper says 1986, which I think is 33 years from when the shit's supposed to be like the setting of it or whatever. So, and you know, I think it's 33 years. Please let my math be okay. 19, 20. Let me see. It's supposed to be set in 2019. So if you go 19 to 2000. 20 to the 90. So that's um, 29. Yeah. So 86 would be about, yeah. um, 90 and well 97 would be 33 years, but so yeah, it's roughly 33 years ahead. And there's something about the number 33 because some people will say they'll call that the whatever number when he ascended, you know what I'm saying. So that there's something, there's this whole thing about time and this and that third, boom, bop, bam. That's how episode 2 ends. It's not like a filler episode, but we move through some shit and like there's that. So yeah. I ain't got no cigars, bro. I ain't got no cigars, bro. I ain't got no cigars. It's tobacco. But the way shit go is usually like, that's just be a thing. When people, every once in a while, it's either whatever's going on with life, or if somebody just supports the channel, like somebody will send money or whatever. So I'm able to, do the other whatchamacallit, you know what I'm saying? So that's where we're always at with anything. That's how I kind of talk cryptically, descriptively sometimes, but you know what I'm saying? Whenever somebody like donates to the channel, I use that to go get whatchamacallit to do more of the content and the podcast and episodes and this and that third, boom, boom, boom. But right now, but I've been in the space of, like I don't want to let that slow down too much. Like, of course, I would love to do these segments with whatchamacallit, but I'm not gonna like slow it down. You know what I'm saying? So like, but that's the only reason I haven't done like with American Gangster. I finished American Gangster, but I didn't do that last episode because I'm just waiting till whatever happens so I can what I'm saying, get something so I can go finish that episode up. But for right now, working on a new playlist, and so I have a like so at first I was like, yo, should I just whatchamacallit? But I made a playlist for Peaky Blinders. So Peaky Blinders has a playlist. Season 6 of Black Mirror has a playlist. So I'm like, this is just gonna have to have its own playlist. At least until I'm able to we'll see how whatchamacallit. Right now, we do have a running plot, and we're trying to figure out, we're trying to piece everything together here. So it seems as if there's something going on at the nuclear power plant. Mikhail done time travel. This nigga went back in time. This nigga done went back in time. And we have this one guy who's in the present day of like looking for him, and he's on a track to do it. He don't know what the fuck he got going on or what he's doing. He seems to know something that others just don't know. He seems to know something others don't know. So there are questions that we have to get answered here, and so now Mikhail is alive. It looks like whatchamacallit is about to pop up. Eric, it looks like he's about to his shit is about to get sizzled, and whatchamacallit, it look like they're running into some type of experiments with time travel or something. And there's this one person that seems that it knows what the hell's going on. You still don't know why the dad did what he did, and we got to figure that out. What's his motivation for it? Or not the motivation, but just like, why would you do that? You know what I'm saying? What the hell happened with him? So this episode 2, it didn't clear up anything, but it's a season. We gotta get through the whole season. We gotta see what's going on here. We still, well, for me personally, and again, if you have not seen this show, I'm on episode 2, so feel free to catch up. But don't go further. You know what I'm saying? The next one, go episode 3. You let me know, talk about what you got, questions and comments and concerns on what you think about having this and third. But don't nobody spoil shit for me. Don't nobody spoil shit, all right? We're starting anew. We can go through this together. So we can come back here and kumbaya and have talks about the episodes. So, see, like episode 1 had said, I was like, yo, there was too much going on for me. I was like, yo, I gotta kind of break it down. Episode 2, I didn't feel like a lot happened. I was like, oh, I need to stop and talk and this and that third, to wrap my head around like what the hell going on. Episode, and not to say it was like, I'm not gonna say it's a filler episode, but it's now we got questions for the dad. who's that? His dad, Obendorf. He his dad knows some other shit. Whether because he works at the power plant. He does something around the power plant. Oh, the other thing that happened, there was another little scene that happened at the power plant. The power plant, mind you, the power plant guy, clearly he's doing something and he knows too. And because he told his dad to, like, yeah, you need to clear something out by the night. So there was another scene, and they're like putting something in the back of some type of van or whatever, not a van, like some type of delivery truck. They're putting something. He's like sitting there with his umbrella, just watching it or whatever. So that was another scene, but it was like a quick scene. Like, it wasn't too long. He just, like, you see him watching them put whatever the fuck in the back of this delivery truck, going from there. Then, so yeah, but need to figure out what the fuck does his dad know? It looks like his brain, like his eyes, are about to get fried, and whatever's about to happen over here. I don't know what they're trying to do here. I don't know what type of experiments they're running at the nuclear plant. Figure what the fuck's going on over there. Um, and then, like those little subplots of, like, okay, this is happening and this is happening. You can kind of just tell that it's some people, because like they've already dropped hints at it, but they're gonna get caught. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna get caught. I would love to see more scenes with, what I'm saying, them getting it in or something. I don't know, but he done turned her down. He done turned her down. So I don't know the next time they're gonna do something. But of because that's like a running subplot. They was kind of already what you guys, so you don't know, like, if or when they do get caught, because the lady at the whatchamacallit, you need to watch out what you got going on at your own house. And she was like, fuck you mean? No gunna. You know what I'm saying? So how any of this is happening? The man in the black jacket, who the fuck, what the fuck he got going on? Who is he? What's his whole fucking shit? Because like, with like time travel, so yeah, so there's something to do with time travel and the repeating of incidents, because one of the police officer, at first he was like, man, this ain't got shit to do with my brother, this ain't there, boom, boom. And then after whatchamacallit, he come back to her and like, okay, yeah, if you're thinking that these are connected, and because this person went missing, this person went missing, and now I think they're connected, something did go on, this and that, third, okay, let's, what I'm saying, boom. Something about time, the repeating of incidents, history repeats itself. The one thing from history is that we don't learn from history. So it's those type of things. But with time, because you see, like, this guy with the black jacket, he knows something. And it's like, what is he trying to do? Mind you, he has a newspaper of Mikhail. That's one, right? And when the series first started, and it had this whole talk about time, present, past, future, and it being an illusion and all this other shit, right? It was, there were a series of pictures. It was 3 pictures that would seemingly be of the same person. And then, but it would switch, and it would be another series of 3 pictures of seemingly the same person. Another set of pictures of, like, seemingly the same person. So I don't know what the hell is happening with any of all of that, and how this whole thing is supposed to, like, there's just some underlying concepts. And so for me, it just, an interesting part for me is like, I think some people actually do this. Some people look at it and be like, this really could be, such and such and da-da, boom, 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 like a thing, right? And with time, the last movie I saw about time, and with time travel, anything like that, was, so on, I've been working on my slogan, no Joe Rogan, no Hulk Hogan. But one time Joe Rogan had a guy come up there and talk about time travel, and he was saying, if time travel is going to exist or whatever, like, the people who they do it, but they probably can't go back further than when time travel was really whatchamacallit, right? That's the thing, right? That like conceptually. But there is a movie, I don't remember the name of the movie. It might be, I don't know the name of the movie, so I'm not even about to what you call it. But I forget the real premise. But there's like the person who invented the time travel and just like how rich, like, he's like, well, I'm not even sure about that. I think one of the things was in that movie was there's this lady and she wanted credit for the time travel shit. And so she's like, so, and but by doing that, she becomes like super rich. So she's like super rich and this, that, third, boom, boom, boom. And one of her things is she also has to like stop the one guy from like the one who really invented it. She kind of like has to stop him from whatchamacallit, something like that, because otherwise she in that timeline she doesn't like she's not rich and she's not super powerful or whatever. It's like there's something with that. There was something like with that. There was like the guy who was like, I feel like his dad started it, but then like his son finished it, and like it was either something like that, and like they're supposed to be like the super like the inventors and take get credit for it or some shit, but she like kind of like there's a whole thing like that, and that like that's one of those things that do like not only that like because like it makes sense in the sense of oh Lord when you say sense you know it ain't common. Touch, hearing, smell, sight, touch, taste, all that shit. You know what's your favorite? My favorite. What's your favorite sense? Common. But the hoes gonna say touch. Physical touch. Anyway, make it make sense. Not Bath and Body Works sense. Not Dom Nichols and Penny sense. But in a time reference, since we're talking about that, you ever look at some shit and be like, damn, if I would have thought to make such and such, you know what I'm saying? You ever look at some shit and be like, bro, if I would have thought of that, and like when people like inventing certain shit, like, are you serious? Like, whoever invented this shit, and just da 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 boom. Now they're like super rich, mega rich, da 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 boom. So, um, that's another. I'm saying all of that to say like that's one of the interesting parts. I'm interested in invested in as far as this. I'm hoping, you know what I'm saying, even with like a little gym here, a little gym there, and you know what I'm saying, thinking about certain shit. Um, and you know, you can like just kind of like pick up on something, or you know, they say ain't nothing new under the sun, and so like just picking up on certain ideas and like, oh, this made me think about this, that train of thought. Thought about this, thought about this. Oh, okay, okay, okay. Like understanding some shit. So I'm interested in that. I'm curious to see what it does. I'm curious to see some more. Like again, they had this clip, and the clip that was playing on that TV, I feel like it could be a real thing. I feel like that it would be an actual, you know, like, oh well, you know, such and such, and you can listen to it or you can watch it because it was actual video. So like, it's like, if that's an actual thing to watch, if I actually found it, would I watch it? It's because it's like conceptual shit. It was conceptual shit, but even for what that guy was saying there, saying he was like, you know, scientists going to that point and going beyond it, and you know what I'm saying, playing with it, playing with you know the time travel and whatnot. There's just so many things that like you can sit there and talk about with that, right? With the so one of the things that it comes up every once in a while, like what they call it the Mandela effect, and they'll put the whole, well, do you remember this or do you remember this? Do you remember this or do you remember that? Like how do you spell Bearstein Bears? But that shit was hard to spell in the first place. The Fruit of the Looms logo, did it have this or did it have, was that not there? And you be like, bro, I know for a fact that shit had that up there. How do you spell Febreze? It'd be shit like that, but it'd be those one of the things like if time travel was ever like, oh, you doing something or whatever, and it like changes the fabric of da 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 da. Like, oh, and I think one of the things with butterflies, like just this one thing, leads to a whole nother like series of events, a series of, you know what I'm saying, that used to be a whole book title, but a series, like, it leads to this, which leads to this, which leads to that, because you change this, now you change this, you know what I'm saying, like those little things lead to like these big effects or whatever. So Butterfly Effects is a whole nother movie though, a whole nother movie. But I feel like is it Ashton Kutcher? Ashton Kutcher? That's one of the celebrities you never hear about anymore. I don't know if that's like a good thing or a bad thing. You know, like, because, you know, and the reason I say that is how I have a meme for this. Nicki Minaj. There are certain people who like go off into just like, you know, nah, they good, they chilling, they just, you know, they just doing their thing, you know, they ain't, you know, they made their money, they got rich, now they just chilling, living their life, you know, just traveling, taking pictures, just chilling, like they don't need to be seen, they made money, like they don't need to be seen no more, right? Like those people who like just matriculate and just like, I don't know if Ashton Kutcher is of that or like what the hell. Like what the hell is? Where's Ashton Kutcher at? What the hell is he doing? Oh no! But the reason I say like that because people, and it's just I'm not. There was like this running. It was like a joke or whatever. Like if Ashton Kutcher was like a good actor and whatnot. I guess another question that kind of like pops up because the lady kept saying that the boy was dressed in stuff out of the 80s. You know what I'm saying? So she's like, this Walkman, 80s, these shoes, 80s. And so, like, how Mikhail pops up in 86, right? What happened to that boy? He now pops up and, you know, well, we already know what happens with him because they found how, whatchamacallit, right? So that's a whole nother thing. These are like questions, man. These are like questions, bro. So I will say that was pretty productive. We'll probably. I'm not going to watch another episode today. Well, in this morning, I'm not going to watch another episode this morning. Um, yeah, it's an hour long. It's an hour long. Well, 50 something minutes. You know, 50 something minutes. But it's okay. Again, a 10 out of 10. I'm not giving 10 out of 10. You know what I'm saying? I'm not giving it 10 out of 10. Now, I'm also not watching it in German, but there are just a little bit of scenes that's just like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I get why you putting it here, and I get the hell what's happening, but like the one boy, he's frustrated. Magnus, Magnus is frustrated, you know, and he punching the wall. That shit, I get it. You have to watch it, but I was like, 10, like, for me, you know what I'm saying? For you to call it 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10 is perfection. You know what I'm saying? 10 out of 10 is like perfection. So I'm just gonna have to. I'm not giving it 10 out of 10. I'm not giving it 10 out of 10. But like there are just a couple scenes like that, and that's why I said I'm like, you know, the acting here. Even if this shit was I was watching in its original language in German, it still wouldn't. I'm like, you know what I'm saying? This shit ain't 10 out of 10, but it's alright. You know what I'm saying? It's alright.